episode. So you want to go to law school? Hi, my name is Alex Lao.
And I'm Raquel Lao.
This is the Lao Law Firm podcast where we discuss legal issues and sometimes non legal issues. We're both lawyers that practice in the entire state of Florida, and we are located here in Tampa Bay, but as we say, we practice in all counties of the state from the Panhandle down to Miami. Just to give you a little bit of a background, I was admitted to the practice of law here in Florida in 1999 and have been practicing law for the past 25 years. And I am board certified in civil trial, which means that I have expertise recognized by the Florida Bar in trying cases such as car crashes.
I've been practicing for the past 16 years, and so since 2008, I've only done personal injury cases, wrongful death cases. Our practice at Lao Law Firm, we are committed to representing injured persons in personal injury and wrongful death cases such as car crashes and slip and falls. Remember, we represent plaintiffs, which are the persons that were hurt by another person's fault. We do not represent the persons that caused the accident.
And today we're talking about so you want to go to law school. So this episode was put together because we wanted to discuss with you, the viewer, as to what are some recommendations for whether or not I want to go to law school. Is it right for me? Is it something that I want to commit to? Well, we can talk to you about our experiences and why we selected to go to law school. And we're brother and sister. Our father went to law school and wanted us to go to law school. I wanted to be a doctor, and
I wanted to get my MBA and worked at some finance department in some corporation.
so in undergrad to make sure that we please both of our families, or our parents and our family, I applied to medical schools. I applied to law schools. I took the MCAT, which is a medical school admission test, twice. Took the LSAT, which is the law school admission test, once. I took the GRE test for biology, and wanted to have some options open. And when I applied, I got into several law schools, and I ended up picking to go to law school.
I was still trying to decide whether to get my MBA, but my brother Alex here, he was already practicing. You were practicing, right? And he was telling me his day to day. It sounded very interesting, so I decided to pursue that. I took the LSAT, applied to a bunch of law schools, and history has been made.
So one of the things that I like to discuss is obviously do it for the right reasons. Do it because it's something you want to do. If it's something that interests you, because maybe it's something you've watched a trial on TV, or you watched a movie or TV show and it sparked your interest. Obviously, it's something that you can think about. Understand that law school typically is 3 years if you're full time. I think a lot of part time students finish it around 4 years when they work during the day and go to night school and law school. But for me, undergrad was very fun. It was a time in which you get to kind of learn life, meet a lot of friends. Law school was the opposite. It was not fun at all. It was late nights of no sleep, just reading hundreds and hundreds of pages of course material, summarizing it, and then cracking into the next book, and doing the same thing for another subject. So these are things to keep in mind. The people on my floor, because I decided to live in a dormitory, which I thought was, and I would recommend would be the best thing. Get a meal plan so you don't have to live in an apartment and cook for yourself. It's great to have a dormitory where you have a cafeteria where you don't have to think about anything other than go to class, find the dormitory that's closest to your law school so you can go in and out the middle of the night, because typically your law school library will be open 24 hours so you can go in there and study, research, and work with other students. So those are things that you're going to want to do, and make sure that you take the time to take care of your body by eating right and exercising regularly, because it does an astonishing amount of mental torture on your body by just being in class, being going through all this. Everyone in law school is smart, so just understand that there is no one that's been admitted to law school that is not smart. So when you think about in high school, if you were near the top of your class, then you get to college. You want to be near the top of the class. When you get to law school, everyone there was top of their class in undergrad, typically top of their class in high school, did well in grade school. These are all typically overachievers. So you're amongst a lot of other people that are considered cream of the crop. So you want to understand that you might not be summa cum laude or valedictorian of your law school. That's okay.
Yeah. C's get degrees.
You just have to understand that that's something that hopefully you're going to still strive for, because you still want to do well. But people that are in law school obviously have a lot of commitment to school, and then that's something they want to do. So if you are married, make sure that your spouse is supportive, because that's going to be very important when you don't see them that often because you're working on things for school. We had even classmates of ours who were married to different people, and then they were divorced during law school and they married each other. So those are things that happened during my years in law school. I've never really hated anybody, in undergrad or growing up, but then when you get to law school, you have sometimes some animosity toward your own classmates when they start hiding books in the law school library from you.
I've
So you
heard stories about that too.
can't finish your work sometimes because someone will hide it somewhere in the library. But
Yeah, everything you're graded on a curve, so it's competition.
and when you apply to law school and when you get into law school, there's no particular undergraduate degree that you have to have. Just because you're not a poli-sci major or an English major doesn't mean that you won't do well in law school. My undergrad was biology. I minored in chemistry.
Mine was finance and real estate.
And there,
Very different.
and there are a lot of business students that did well in law school, and it actually helped them when they became lawyers, because having a law firm is some business that you're going to have to learn how to run. And even with my science background, there was still a handful of us that were in law school and did well in law school, because we were accustomed to the amount of work that we'd have to do in class and laboratory, just the amount of hours that we're used to working. It just established character in undergrad. So by the time we went to law school, we had good study habits. So don't be afraid to go to law school just because you had a different major, such as music, a science, or a business degree. It doesn't mean you're not going to do well. In fact, a lot of law schools look at that and think that that's good for diversity, in terms of diversity of background of education for their students.
And in law school, you do have an opportunity to take electives. And what I did was, since I had that background in math, finance, I did take some accounting classes. In law school, I took whatever classes I could take, whatever electives I could take that did incorporate math. So, it was the tests, you had to show your work. And it was just more comfortable that way. So at least I was able to do something that I liked. A lot of people wouldn't think math and lawyers go together.
When you're in your first year, the school already picks the path of classes in which you have to take. It's already pre-selected for you. But when you get to your second and third year, you're going to be allowed to pick more classes to fill in your schedule. So what I did, when I recommend other people to consider, is look at the state in which you are going to take the bar, and look at the subjects and the subjects that are going to be on the bar exam, and make sure you take those classes. You don't have to, but you don't want to learn those things just 2 months before you're about to take the bar. It's better to have an established background in it from law school, be able to talk about with your peers, experience it with your teachers, and be able to ask those questions, those hard questions about those particular subjects while you're in law school, versus just learning them for the first time during your review course for your bar exam. Also, you just have to, if you're going to go to law school, don't just try halfway. You have to be all in. The first year is usually the weed out period. So when we started off, we had about 126 people in my law school class. By the time we graduated, we had just a little over 90 students in our class, and that was including people that ended up transferring into our law school. So you can see there was a good amount of students that had dropped off or flunked out of classes because it just wasn't something that they were able to survive. So it's very, very important to be all in this. Also, when you pick a law school, try to pick one that's or consider maybe the financial aid because law school is very expensive. I went to one of the 12th cheapest law school in the country. My sister went to one of the most expensive law schools in the country. So
Yeah.
it's if you are going to then get a job, you have to understand if you want to be underwater for many years or if you want to be able to pay off that loan quicker. So that's something you might want to consider also. Other things you want to consider too is the city or state in which you're going to be at, because a lot of those lawyers in those cities or states, a lot of them have gone to particular colleges. So if you're going to practice in Miami and you went to St. Thomas or University of Miami, that might be a pro for someone who's a new associate looking for a job. If you're in the Tampa Bay area or north, going to FSU or going to University of Florida might be a benefit, with a potential employer who might have gone there also. Those are just some things to consider. What I like to do when I chose my law school is look at the bar passing rate. Did this school produce students that passed the bar? What percentage rate? Was it higher than normal? Did they produce students that got jobs and were placed well? Yes. Those are things that you might want to consider unless your mother or your father already have a law firm that you're going to slide into taking over. What type of externship programs do they have? Programs with the local public defender's office, with the local state attorney's office, with any of the local firms. Those are things that might get your foot in for when you're done with law school. Maybe you'll get a job immediately. If there's any other questions or comments, you can always put any of these additional things that you want us to address in other videos in the comments. Please leave only positive comments. And you could call us also at 813-505-5602. We are Lao Law Firm. Also, you can find us on the web at www.attorneylao.com. That's spelled LAO. And once again, it's Alex Lao and
Raquel Lao. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And thanks for tuning in to Lao Law from Podcast.
hit the subscribe button. Thank you.